What's happening, dudes and dudettes? Welcome to, we're sort of in chapter 2, but this is 1.6 extension. So we wanted to put this with chapter 2 because it's similar to chapter 2. So we finished chapter 1, now we're on to chapter 2, but this extension still says 1.6. So here we go. We're into fractions. That's exciting news. I know we all love fractions. So we're starting with the hardest one, I think, which is adding and subtracting them. The reason being is that you have to get a common denominator. And so with multiplying and dividing, you don't have to do that. So make sure you have something to take notes with, and you can check my notes as well for all the important info. So the first thing we're doing here is we're finding 5/8 plus 1/6. So we're going to rewrite the fractions with a common denominator. And one way to do that is to use the product of the denominators as the common denominator. What does that mean? Multiply 8 times 6. That will give you a common denominator of 48. So this is a fancy way to write it. So you have to do, if you do 8 times 6 on the bottom, you have to do times 6 on the top. If you do 6 times 8 on the bottom, you have to do times 8 on the top. So remember, whatever you do to the bottom of a fraction, you also have to do it to the top. So we're rewriting them with multiplication, and we multiply, and we end up with 30 over 48 plus 8 over 48. So both denominators are now the same, okay? So now is the easy part. All I have to do is add the top numbers, and I end up with 38 over 48. But you got to be careful because you're not done yet. You have to simplify and reduce, and you end up with 19/24. So this is the way they say it, dividing out the common factor 2. They basically just cut them both in half. It's reducing a fraction. You see that they're both even numbers, so you can cut them both in half, and you end up with 19 over 24, and that can't be reduced anymore. So pause the video and get that written down, and then move on to extra example 1 here. Find 1/3 plus 1/4. Go ahead and see if you can work on that one. Find a common denominator. And there's a little hint. I think it will be 12. So pause it, try it out, and then come back.
Find 1/3 plus 1/4. To find the sum, rewrite the fractions with the common denominator by using the product of the denominators as the common denominator. To do this, multiply the numerator and denominator of 1/3 by 4 and the numerator and denominator of 1/4 by 3. 1 times 4 is 4 and 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3 and 4 times 3 is 12. So you have 4/12 plus 3/12. Now you want to add the numerators, giving you 4 plus 3 all divided by 12. 4 plus 3 is 7, so you are left with 7/12. Therefore, 1/3 plus 1/4 equals 7/12.
There you have it. So that's a lot of talking and a lot of numbers for basically just getting the denominator to 12. So you multiply this side by 4 and this side by 3, ends up with this here. So once you get the common denominator, no problem, just add the top, and then you got to simplify to make it the smallest. So